to another home hint from Border Home Inspection. Today I want to talk about attic accesses and some of the issues that I can see sometimes with attic hatches, basically. So I'm in a fairly modern home today, and usually this occurs only in the modern homes, and I'll explain what I'm showing you here. So we're looking at an attic access, and when I pushed up the attic hatch, I see that there's some mold-like growth on the hatch, and it's even more pronounced on the other side here. So you can see it there. Now, a lot of people see that and they get really worried, and they think, well, if there's mold there, there's mold everywhere. And let me explain what, in my opinion at least, why this is occurring in this location. So you've got a fairly modern house, and as such, it has a vapor barrier in the ceiling, in the exterior walls. So any moisture that's laden in the air inside the house in the wintertime gets moved around the house, and it can't pass the vapor barrier. So in other words, the heat can escape from the house, but the moisture that's in that air stays inside the house, and it doesn't create a frost issue, except one location, and that is in the ceiling access, because the access towards the attic is an opening in that vapor barrier, and therefore the moisture that can't get out anywhere else can try to escape through the access. And if you don't have a real good seal on the access, then you end up with what you're seeing here today. Now, is it a big problem? It can be a problem for me as a home inspector, because I'm trying to push the access up through that, and a lot of times the OSB on the sides is tight to begin with, and when it swells up because of that freeze-thaw cycle of the frost, then it's hard to get the access to push up all the way, and even harder to get it come back down. In this case, I've had a look in the attic already, and no real concerns, but in what I'm going to explain to my customer about the mold that you see here, and we call it mold-like growth. And by the way, you know, if a home inspector says there's mold, then you should say, well, how do you know it's mold? Well, it looks like mold, but we can't say for certain something is mold unless we know for sure. So we call it mold-like growth until it's tested in a lab to confirm. I mean, you and I can look at this and say, yeah, it's probably mold. But what I want to point out finally here is that with the hatch down in position, and it's fairly well sealed, any mold that is breaking off of this growth is being floating in the air in the attic space. And because the attic has so much wind passing through it, it creates a negative pressure in this location, and it draws those mold spores up and out through the roof. So in terms of your health, if you have a house and has access like this and it has some mold on it, chances are it's going to be fine. It's not going to affect your health. If you want to do something about it, you could clean it up. You know, if you're really allergic to mold, you better protect yourself. But clean up this little area with some soap and water, bleach, whatever you want to use, mold killer, and then put the hatch back down and seal it up with some caulking. It just means you're not going to be able to access it very well. And that will reduce the amount of mold that would grow in this area. So hopefully today's home hint has been helpful to some of you. If you see this, you don't freak out. You get a better understanding of what you're looking at. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.